It's late November and we're here at Rollins Reservoir outside the town of Colfax on Highway 80. As you can see, the reservoir is pulled down quite a bit this time of the year. I hear it's down about 100 feet right now. It's a great fishery for planter rainbows, holdover rainbows, as well as brown trout. Okay folks, we're soaking an inflated night crawler here. I just had a fish take. I've left the bail open. Took us a minute to get the camera going, so let's see what we got here. I'm going to engage the reel. You always want to let the fish run when you've got an inflated crawler. It takes them a little while to get it in their mouth. So let's see what we got. I'm going to retrieve the line here. Definitely some structure down there. Oh yeah, fish on. I think this may be a bass. It may be a little smallmouth. Of course, everything likes a worm. That's exactly what it is. It's a little bass. Feisty Rollins Lake smallmouth. This little guy is hooked in the lip. We'll get him back in the water. But you know, when you're bank fishing, a worm is one of the very best baits you can use because everything likes them. Catfish, trout, brown trout, rainbows, and of course bass. We're using two basic rigs today. You see out there in the water, I've got a slip bobber with a worm impaled on a hook, suspended about 6 feet under the bobber. I'm fishing with my wife Gina today, and we're running 3 rods. In addition to the bobber rod, we've got 2 rods with sliding sinker rigs baited with inflated worms. And you'll see there I have a bobber suspended on the line between the guides of the rod. And what that does, it serves to hold a little slack in the line, so when a fish picks up the worm, it gives them a chance to run without feeling any resistance. And that's really key. When you're trout fishing off the bank like this, if a trout picks up your bait and feels resistance, 9 times out of 10 they will drop the bait. But when I get hit, that bobber is going to slide up to the rod tip, and I'm going to get over to the rod before that happens. Take the bobber off and open the bail and actually let the fish run a little ways further. Just had our second bite of the day. The bobber was going up slowly, so I picked up the rod, removed the bobber. Now I've got the bail open. I don't know what's going on. I can see a couple coils of line on the surface. I think the smartest thing to do is just wait. Feel some tension, and it's fish on. Question is it a bass? I think this one might be a rainbow. Yep, this is a rainbow trout. Beautiful. Nice little pan-sized fish, probably a planter, maybe a holdover from this summer. Let him play himself out a little bit. And my wife Gina's got a fish going. We put power bait on that rod because we've been catching some little rainbows. She's going to let that fish go ahead and run, and when he runs, engage that reel, reel down and set the hook. Fish on. Beautiful. Alright, skate him right up to shore. So this is the rig that Gina just caught that last rainbow on. And we're using power bait on it now. I got yellow power bait. You'll notice that's about a 1/4 inch ball. Power bait's expensive. That's all you need to use. And you don't need to use a treble hook. A lot of people like to use trebles. All I'm using here is a red octopus hook. Take your hook, insert it into the power bait, kind of hook it, but mostly you're just going to turn the hook, shove it in there like so, and then I like to squeeze a little bit of the dough bait around the eye of the hook. I've got a 6-pound test fluorocarbon leader, and that's probably, oh, I don't know, 24, 30 inches. Comes up to a small swivel. I've got on an orange bead, which really does nothing except protect your knots from the weight. And I've got, I think that's probably a 3/8 ounce bullet weight. I don't like to use the traditional egg sinkers. They're round and they tend to hang in the rocks more. I find if I use these bullet weights, I have less snags, and that's the only reason I use them. So that's about it. This bait has literally been in the water for about 15 seconds. I can't even get the other line in the water. I'm already getting hit. Yellow power bait once again. And there we go, fish on. Another feisty little rainbow. Yellow power bait, often imitated, never duplicated. Stuff is absolutely deadly on these rainbow planners. In my opinion, when you're bank fishing, the #1 bait you can use for brown trout is a worm, an inflated night crawler. And this is how you rig one. You're using the same sliding sinker setup that I described for using with power bait, except you're using a bronze bait holder hook. I'm using a #8 right here. Take your worm, don't gob your worm up, hook your worm one time, slide him up the shank of that hook where the bait holders are. Gently, takes a second. That's how your worm sits on the hook. Now the last thing is the most important thing, a worm blower. It's got a needle on one end, stick it in the body of the worm, like so, and inject some air in them. Now I like to inject them at a couple different points. The tail end of the worm, the flat end, doesn't hold the air real well, but I'll still put a puff of air in there just for good measure. What the heck?
Fish on.
Oh, we're getting a bite. Let me finish up with this. That's your inflated worm, nice and plump. That bait is going to float up from the bottom. It's going to sit there and wriggle. A lot of attraction, super deadly for rainbows and browns. We've had a very successful day bank fishing for trout here at Rollins Lake. But one of the reasons we've been successful is how we've set up. We didn't set up back there in the back of the cove. The lake is drawn down. Instead, we've come out here and we're out on a main lake point. The water is very deep, it falls away very quickly, and the trout are moving around this point. So we've got our baits out maybe 10, 15 feet max off the bank. As the trout cruise around this point looking for something to eat, they spot our worms, they spot our power bait, and it's game on. You don't need to cast far, but winter trout and late fall trout, they're attracted to structure. They move in very close to the bank, and I guarantee you, all these points you see up and down the shore, every one of them will produce fish just like we've been catching here off this point. The fish move in tight to shore, and a lot of times in the winter for the non-boater, it's prime time to fish. You can actually catch more fish off the bank than you can in boats simply because it's hard to fish close enough to the bank out of a boat to get into the hottest strike zone. It's been quite a day here at Rollins Reservoir. It's late November. Got 9 rainbows on the stringer. I expect we'll have our limit here in a few minutes. The sun's going down behind the trees. As you can see, bank fishing for trout in the late fall, early winter can be super effective. Power bait, inflated worms, that's all you need to have a great day on the water. A couple of light spinning rods. Only things you need to remember is fish with an open reel. Put that bobber on your line so the fish can run with the bait, and don't cast out too far. We're out here on the point. The fish are right here, 10 feet off the bank. We had one come right up practically on the bank chasing the worm. So fish close to shore, and all our foothill lakes contain fish like these, so get out there, get them, and have fun doing it.